Greetings, I am Samael the Reaper, and you're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and remember, I'm watching you.
The characters last met. A group of Sahaugan raiders had attacked the crew as they attempted to keep watch while their gnomish submarine crew tended to repairs to the binding ring for the elemental of the sea serpent. After a fierce battle with smaller sharks and other Sahaugan, the characters were able to eliminate the opposition and lay claim to a strange trident. As the group reconvened on the vessel, time passed with no other opposition, no other threats, and the captain called the rest of the group and the crew back into the vessel to continue on through Shargon's Teeth. Some time passed, and the vessel was able to navigate through the bioluminescent columns that held up this strange archipelago of islands that was scattered throughout Shargon's Teeth. And eventually the group, after several hours, were able to navigate through the remainder of these columns to the edge of what appeared to be a silt cloud in the distance. The captain relayed to the group that something potentially natural or unnatural seemed to have dredged up silt and sand and debris from the bottom of the ocean and had brought visibility down to near zero. It recommended that instead of attempting to navigate through this strange cloud of debris in the underwater, that they turn southeastern towards an area along a trench, a deep trench, and move around this silt cloud. It would add a little bit of extra time to the group's journey, but it would be far more safer, in the captain's opinion, than attempting to go straight through blind through the cloud. The group agreed, and the sea serpent continued on, traversing the underwater domain beyond the Sahaugan towards a very deep trench. Along the edge of a cliff wall, the sea serpent came to rest, and the captain began making checks and announcements to the crew and the group. And as the group collected themselves, went about their day, and Vrax and Scorched assembled within the observation blister of the vehicle, Vrax was able to observe a strange sight just beyond, along the cliff's edge, a collection of coral and underwater vegetation that stretched on for quite a bit off into the distance, framing the seemingly deep purplish black of this trench along this wall. Vrax saw what appeared to be humanoid shapes drifting in and out of the sea kelp and the seaweed, and just for a moment thought that he saw a woman there, framed, floating in the water, hair flowing. And then the image was gone, and Vrax saw now a strange, lumpy, seemingly very unattractive looking fish of some sort, undulating, swaying back and forth through the kelp, past the wall, seemingly innocuous. As the characters stared through the observation blister, they observed that just beyond the kelp and just beyond this expanse of coral reef, they saw what appeared to be man-made structures, potentially, off in the distance in the dark. And as the group is now assembled within the observation blister, they see now that there's a calm and a stillness as the sea serpent continues to idle on the edge of this trench. Captain Biam looks to each of you and he says, "Well, you all said that you wanted to spelunk, explore. I wouldn't recommend going into the trench. You may not come back from that. But feel free to utilize the equipment that's in the airlocks. You can use the caps of breathing. Feel free to keep those if you wish. You can take those once you disembark, even if you want." And as the captain is looking to you, Vrax, and to you, Scorched, suddenly from above, towards the ceiling of this observation blister, a little hatch pops open, and a goblin pokes his head out, covered in filth and grime, and says, "Captain, afraid we're going to have to idle here a little bit longer. We're having an issue with the filtration system, and I'm afraid we're going to have some problems with breathing air. You might want to hold on to those caps of water breathing." And the diminutive goblin looks to you, Vrax, and just sort of waves. "Hey, how you doing, big guy?"
I'm sorry, who did he wave at?
He waved at you, the little goblin, after he emerged from this hatch. Just behind you, above your head, you looked around, you heard the sound of this sort of like a scraping of metal and like an unlatching sound. And you just see this little goblin head, his ears poking out. He just sort of emerges, the front half of his body hanging out the end of this hatch. He's looking down at you.
"Hey, big man, what's up?" I'm going to hold up my hand so he can fist bump me.
He reaches his tiny little arm out. What if I could? I can't really reach.
I can reach. Hold up. Can I stretch high enough to reach him?
Yeah, he's fairly low enough that you could reach up. If you sort of moved up on your tippy toes, you could very easily reach out and touch his fist.
We are total bros now.
He's roughly the size of Twinkle. Not the standard. His eyes are like saucers, though, whereas Twinkle has described her eyes as being a little bit more beady. Perhaps they're from different tribes. And he has a long, crooked nose that sort of curves out almost like a beak of a parrot. And he has a wispy mane of beard, sort of like this dark, oily, black beard that sort of like a chin strap that goes around his jawline, and it terminates a couple of inches out from his chin, and sort of like a wavy thing. And he has a couple of like colored beads, look like possibly made of, some look like they're made of bone, that are weaved into the beard. And
Cool.
you can tell he looks on, he says, "I don't know if it's the extra folk that we've had on the ship. Maybe it had something to do with when we were up topside earlier today. I'm not sure why it's acting this way, Captain." And Captain Bian looks up past you, Vrax, towards Tyler, the goblin, and says, Fine, it's okay. Our passengers will potentially going to disembark anyway, so that's perfectly okay. We'll take a look at it and get back to me." "Very well." And the little goblin sort of shimmies backwards and reaches out with his little arm, grabs the inside of the hatch and pulls it up, and you hear that metallic scraping noise as he secures it in place. You can just hear the goblin sort of humming as he's moving away, and you can just hear this scraping, shimmying noise of him shimmying through that air duct.
Can't y'all technically just go topside while you work on it, and we can just go on our little adventure?
Oh, we could. That's up to you. I mean, you won't have us to. You'll have to swim back to the ship if you want. We can do that. Might be
I don't mind.
Might be a good idea actually to cycle the air. We didn't actually do that while we were stopped to make repairs. We didn't cycle the air, so maybe it might be a good idea.
I can swim better than everybody else. You won't when we get back here. I can go topside and get you guys, and we can just lower back down, pick everybody up, and go.
I'll tell you what, we'll stay near the edge of the trench. We'll just go straight up.
Sounds like a plan.
Are any of your friends wishing to stay behind, or are all of you disembarking?
All of us, especially the cleric. She really wants to go.
Adelum is back in her private quarters. Again, has sort of ducked away, seemingly not necessarily avoiding you all, but the moment that she laid eyes on that trident, she immediately wanted to take a look at it and said she was going to spend the day drawing it and just making notes, going through her books. And she did make mention that the next time you were all near civilization, she wished to potentially visit like a library or some place that sold or carried books potentially of this region.
Well, I guess she's staying behind then.
She definitely will go with you if you ask her to. She's just been sort of holed up in her room most of the time that she's been on this trip, except for when you guys have needed her.
Let's go get her.
Okay. So all of you have been carrying on your daily routine as you've been on the vessel, the Sea Serpent. And at any time you may all assemble. I believe if I remember correctly, it was in the late afternoon. We'll say it's approximately 6:30 now. So like the amber glow is dissipating. It's very dark out there. The Sea Serpent has now turned on its exterior lighting rig, and very bright, luminescent searchlight style Everbright lanterns, which are focused on varying degrees of the exterior, the hull of the ship, are now illuminating the darkness out. And you can just see, before you left the observation blister, you can see the light in almost a spotlight fashion was sort of wafting past the outer edge of the wall into the black, piercing the black but not revealing anything. Nothing. Just pure purplish black of the deep trench. But you can see the bioluminescent coral, the pinks and purples and greens, the bright colors, illuminated by the spotlights.
Cool.
It got spoopy all of a sudden. So are you all assembling in the airlock? What are you all doing right now?
Yeah, we're putting our shit on and going.
Alistair has been in his room the whole time. No one has said anything to Alistair.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I done grabbed you and drug you out.
Then you, sir, walked in and Alistair, feathery naked, pruning himself.
He's got feathers. He's never naked.
He dragged you by the tail feathers.
Snatch you up by a wing.
Just dragging a naked owl man through the... What does a naked owl man even have?
Well, he's not really naked. He's covered in feathers.
And then you're never really naked because you're covered in scales.
This is true. That's why I'm not wearing clothing.
I'm never really naked because I'm covered in dirt.
This is true.
I think she wins this argument.
Hey, Alistair, come on, let's go.
He grabs his cloak and just throws his clothes on real quick and walks out. I don't even know why we're going back out there.
Don't be so dramatic. You just don't want to get wet.
I just prefer to be higher.
Don't you have, like, that duck oil that keeps you dry?
I don't have any of those herbs on me like that, man. All I got is tobacco, but I'll see what we can do in the next city.
I. Let's just go.
So after a few minutes, you all assemble near the airlock.
Sure
And
do.
minus Scorch because he doesn't need to breathe. Do you all don your water breathing caps?
Yes.
Yep. And I'm gonna be smart, and I'm gonna grab a new one of those extra water bows, the harpoon basic thing.
They're in the group's inventory.
Because a certain shark made me drop mine.
Yeah, you lost it to the ocean depths, if I'm not
I don't
mistaken.
have one either. I should probably get one of those.
Yeah, feel free to take the time needed to, as you head towards the airlock, you can see on either side of the airlock, you can see all the equipment that hangs that the crew uses whenever they have to exit into to do repairs onto the sub. And Adelum now, who is just sort of meekly standing behind you all, and says, "We're all going back out into the water."
I guess Mr. Lizard Breath over there decided that he saw something interesting, and now he's dragging all of us out there. Though, I mean, dark, scary depths, maybe there's something interesting.
You keep talking like that, your mom's going to have lizard breath.
Well, I am curious about this region. I've never been over here before. Where exactly are we?
At this point, Alistair is just staring a hole through Rax.
Did you ask where we are?
Yes, I assume that we were heading straight to the mainland.
No, check it out. I'm going to point up and go, the sun is way up there. The sky is below it. The ocean is up there. We are near the bottom. But we found out there's another bottom that's even deeper. And that's where we're going now. Does that explain it?
Not to be a pest, but why are we going into the water again?
There might be stuff to kill, get money, get paid. You know how it is.
No, I understand you. I thought we were meant to go to the mainland to accomplish this task, to take care of, you know, this job that we have been assigned. You know, if we tarry here longer, it's only going to make it that much longer before we can get back and receive our payment.
Well, refresh my memory as to what the job was again.
We are meant to go to Zendrick to chase down the operatives of the flame, or not the flame, I'm sorry, the Emerald Claw.
Are they still going to be there, or are they leaving?
Where I'm from, we call them the Green Flame, or the Hand of Flame.
Are we expecting them to leave?
I don't know. I just know that they had all of the stolen items with them. We were meant to retrieve them before they could use them. That's
okay.
Which is why we took, this shortcut through Shargon's teeth, according to the captain. But you're saying
oh my god!
You're saying now that we're stopping to go swimming? I'm sorry, I just don't understand.
Yes, we explained it to you. You understand. You just repeated it back to me.
Yes, and there's also an air problem with the submergible, I think.
So we had to stop anyway.
All right. Well,
and while we're stopping, we would just well be productive. kill some shit, get paid. This is how it works.
I understand your need for something, some sort of entertainment, some sort of action, if you will.
I don't think you do. You seem like you're in an awful hurry to be a goody-goody.
I'm in a hurry to get paid. I was stiffed, and I will have words with my patron later. And
Trust. You are getting paid. Bet. Right, Twinkle?
Yep.
well,
Yeah, you're running with the right group now. We don't ever get shorted. I mean, they're either going to pay us or we're going to burn their house down with them in it.
I get money or I get food.
Exactly.
well, that will be certainly a sight to behold. You're quite.
I mean, I'm not even lying.
quite-
If we find out where they keep the money, we might just go ahead and rob them anyway. I mean, why stop just because they offered us 5,000 gold apiece? If we see that they got more, we're taking more. We ain't going to stop there.
I mean, as much as I'm mad at you right now, Vrax, you are right. I mean, 5,000 gold to save the world potentially? I feel like that's a real short.
She's probably shortchanging us because she's so racist. I feel like we should relieve her of this extra fundage and use it. Like, just spend it on whatever. We're basically investing in the local economy. That's how I see it.
Like a charity case.
Like a charity. That's right. We rob from people not because we're bad, but because we're looking out for everybody that's not the rich 1%.
Like merry monsters.
What? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like Robin in tights.
Who?
That Robin tights guy.
Okay.
Well,
It was some
If we're-
dude that tried to steal from us that I killed in my forest.
if we're going on the water, then I definitely will not. I'll leave Myrrh here. And she sort of gestures with her arm, and you watch as this sort of a brownish, off-whitish, feathered, owl-like creature sort of scampers off of her shoulder, like it was hiding under her hair. And as soon as it reaches the end of her arm, it leaps off, and then flutters towards the room and into the room.
Alistair, don't throw no game at that. It's way too young.
I'm gonna climb on Vrax's shoulder and lean in close to whisper, "Talk about a bird's nest."
Adele now pulling some errant feathers out of her hair now, and she looks at him and she sort of cocks her head to the side and then takes the feathers and tucks them away into a pouch at her side. And you can see now she is not bringing her her pack with her. She's left that behind. She just have the basic items with her. And she looks at all of you and she says, "Well, shall we go?"
Yeah.
And so you're all now assembled in the airlock. You've all gathered what you need to take with you. And you can all remind me as we go what exactly you brought with you. If you brought anything that is susceptible to being damaged by being in the water, let me know.
I'm just bringing that crossbow thing and some
Okay.
ammo.
So none of your other items except for the armor that you're wearing.
No, don't really need it. My slash and my stab don't do a lot in the water.
Okay. So as you are now all assembled within the airlock, Scorched, are you with them?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You all press the switch toggle that's on the side of the airlock, and the aperture and opening above you now opens up. This circular aperture opens up, and immediately the airlock cycles and water begins pouring in until the entire structure is completely filled with water now. And as it does, the caps of water breathing now emit these sort of wavy sort of globes that hover out several inches away from your head as they emit from the cap and create this bubble of air for you to breathe. And as you've been traveling underneath the waves and within the sea serpent, a few of the crew have actually shown you that you can attune when you're wearing these caps of water breathing with your fellow compatriots. You can attune them so that you can actually communicate with them, so that you no longer have to worry about communicating with each other under the water. You can now hear each other. The sound is now emits from the interior of the bubble. You can hear your compatriots when you try to speak to each other.
Now, is that a magical thing that your character has to be able to do? Because Twinkle isn't the smartest.
Nope. A cap of water breathing is an item that just works.
I meant the being able to speak to each other part.
Oh, well, you would assume as you're under the water now, you're hearing the voices of your friends being amplified a bit and projected within this bubble of air. So once one or two of you begin to make observations within your whether you're speaking to yourself or otherwise, you would begin to hear each other, with the exception of Scorch. You would not hear them unless you decided to don one of the caps.
I don't think Scorch would take one of the caps.
Okay.
But what Scorch would do is he'll cast light at the end of his arm, so that he can be able to see in the dark.
Okay.
I imagine Scorch going through the water like Gypsy Danger at the end of Pacific Rim.
As you emerge from the top and the side of the sea serpent, your eyesight adjusting as you look around. Scorched, you cast the light on into your staff, you said?
At the end of my hand or fist, whatever.
At the end of your hand?
Yeah.
Okay. As you point your arm around and point, you can see now the lights that are emitting from the sea.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Serpent. As you drift away from the sea serpent, you now can feel the current drifting away, and you hear a slow rumble, light rumble within underneath, from emitting just on the exterior of these bubbles around your heads. And you watch as the sea serpent begins to raise up above you all. And you are now at the edge of this deep, seemingly endless trench, and this wall, this craggy wall that's covered in various types of coral. And the coral itself, there's a bit of dead coral further down the wall, and then of course the rough-hewn rock, but above that you can see where the coral is alive and is vibrant, spread out in places. And you can also see sand which is sifting off over the edge in places as you watch the current sort of whips a bit of the sand off of the edge towards the abyss. And as you all begin to swim closer to the edge of the wall and look around, you can see that further off in the distance, beyond this almost forest now of kelp and seaweed, you can see in the dark shapes rising up from the seabed. The wall itself is, the way it's angled, because you've been heading in the southeastern direction, you're fairly certain that the wall is angled, running from northeast to southwest. And as you begin to explore the fields of kelp and seaweed and just beyond the edge, someone would like, if you would like to make a perception check for me. Who's watching out? or I can use everyone's
Me.
passive. Okay, it's not bad. Vrax, as you were scanning the dark, scanning the wavy forest of kelp and seaweed, you can see every now and again you'll see like a different type of fish which will dart out from the kelp, and then you'd see just above some schools of smaller fish. Occasionally you see what looks like potentially like a small octopus just sort of skittering along the bottom of this area of the coral. And you can see now that there are a few places where there appear to be rising up from the seabed areas of small columns or rocky formations. And a couple of the rocky formations appear to be hollowed out. And there seems to be a bit of this dark, sort of like a grayish mist that is sort of rising up like a geyser underwater towards the surface of the ocean. And you can just see now that it in different places, every so often these geysers sort of intermittently erupt from places. And scanning around the coral reef, you can see that there are larger openings in the tops of these mounds of coral and smaller ones in the distance. And you can just see every once in a while these jets of gray clouds that shoot straight up from these apertures.
I'm going to point those out to everybody.
Okay. And as you are looking around, Vrax, you see something, some sort of shape in the dark. It sort of drifts up out of one of these apertures. For a moment, you see the upper half of a humanoid body. It seems to rise up after that bit of geyser erupted and looks in your direction and then starts to move back down. Not quickly, sort of slowly. It's just drifting back down into it.
I'm going to wave at him and go, hey!
Okay. It drifts out of your eye line. You could no longer see it. But it seemed to be, from this distance, it was dark, mottled, grayish, scaly skin. And it sort of a humanoid shape. Like it had the shape of a standard humanoid.
Hey, there was a thing over there. Did y'all see that?
And let's see. Twinkle. Twinkle, twinkle. Okay, so Twinkle, as you turn around, you look and you see Vrax pointing in that direction. And as he does, as you look down below him, you see a rock that is suddenly no longer a rock. It is now some sort of squishy creature with multiple arms, and it starts to launch itself off of the seabed straight towards you like an arrow. Its ass end is pointed straight at you, and its tentacles are sort of pointed straight behind it like it's jetting towards you in a water jet. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna attack it.
You're gonna attack it? All right.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, in that case, I'm going to put you guys on a map. Let's see. And I'm going to share it with you. Now, as it's getting closer to you, it looks a bit bigger than you initially thought it would be.
I'm gonna point it out to Vrax very quickly.
Okay. And I will share the map with you guys. We'll see whether or not it crashes everything. How's that look?
That loaded super fast. I didn't realize that the server was hindering that.
Yep.
Hey, it's a friend. Hey! I'm gonna wave at it.
And
But I got my hand on my sword just in case it's food and not a friend.
You may all roll initiative.
Well, that answers that. I mean, we're all monsters, you know. There's the possibility that it could be a friend.
It's true, but Twinkle did say she wanted to attack it.
Yeah, she wants to.
With all of 6 initiative. Yeah.
Don't feel bad. Nobody else did good either. Could you roll for Alistair? I don't know if he came back from wherever he disappeared to.
Sure. I'll also roll for Adelum.
Thank you.
Man, this thing is like super buttery smooth. It just rolls. I don't have any latency anymore. It's so awesome. All right, so we'll say Adelum's first on the initiative. She just wasn't really paying attention, but she saw the sea creature and it seemed to be swimming towards Twinkle, so she's gonna hold her action. And is Alistair back yet?
No, but who wants to guess where he went?
We can ask. We should speak in his native language.
I have been summoned.
Oh, it worked. Shit.
Holy shit, it worked.
Let me guess. Homosexual DoorDash delivery.
No, family. That wanted to see the Halloween
Close.
decorations I have set up.
So, let me set the scene for you, Alistair. As you emerge from the ship and begin exploring this sort of sea kelp seaweed forest that's emitting from this overhang, this ledge that leads to the seabed. You see expanses of different types of coral in places. You can see that there are various types of fish that are swimming around, and you now see this strange, well, I should say that you didn't quite see it, but as Vrax began to point something out that he saw in the distance, a very large octopus suddenly stopped looking like a rock and is swimming very fast towards Twinkle, who has decided she wants to attack it.
Then I shall try to shoot it before it gets...
Gonna try to shoot it?
I'm gonna try to shoot it. You're
Go
gonna
for
move
it.
over first.
Alright. As you swim over a little bit. I should also mention that this is all three-dimensional. You can say that you swam up a bit. You swam down. If you want to be further up, you can. Just keep in mind that costs your movement to move up. Just let me know that that's what you're doing.
I'm a level a bit above it.
Okay. And also, unless you're Vrax, movement is counted as halved because you're underwater.
That is fine.
Okay.
By the way, where's the octopus set on the combat tractor?
He's... Well, where is he?
At the way bottom.
Yeah, he's at the way bottom.
Yeah, he's last. I'm still not adapted to the water, and I'm it.
Got kind of high pitched there. You almost hooted yourself.
Vrax, it is your turn. As you
I'm
turn
moving
around, you look as you were looking at your friends. You see now that your goblin friend now appears to be drawing her weapon, and you swim up towards this octopus that was moving straight towards Twinkle, at least as far as you could tell, and slash at the creature with your longsword. Do you use your bonus action to turn it on? I assume.
Oh, yeah.
The fire. Okay. There's this like a lightsaber. Copyright Disney. The longsword slashes out into, and you actually cut off one of several of its tentacles as this creature is now sort of pitifully reeling from your attack. Now is turning its attention towards you, Vrax, and you can see as it's spreading out like an umbrella its remaining tentacles, and it looks like it's getting ready to envelop you.
All right, I will end my turn.
Okay. Scorched, it's your turn. You just watched Vrax swim up and slice into this octopus that erupted from the seafloor.
I'm gonna use a dash action to go up next to the octopus,
Okay.
and I'm going to pull out that fish trident from before, and I'm gonna hold it at the ready.
Okay. So you used your action and your movement to get over there, correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. On the, I believe it's Twinkle's turn. Twinkle!
Yay!
Because the octopus is dead last in initiative. And I think it's about to be very dead.
And I'm gonna try to shoot it.
Okay. That's definitely a hit as you take your underwater crossbow and you point it towards the creature. You just watch it, the bolt sticks into the side of it as it looks like its tentacles are now reaching towards Vrax. And let's see if it can actually get Vrax. So Vrax, you watch as these tentacles now are reaching out to grapple you, or at least attempt to grab you. But you just managed to sort of drift back, your longsword at the ready, getting ready to strike at the creature once again.
I love that an attack of 23 misses me.
So there's this, the little suckers are now sort of undulating. You can see this octopus reaching out, attempting to grab at you, and unfortunately it's not able to do so. And let's see. Alistair, just out of the corner of your eye, you see a humanoid creature that suddenly pops up from one of those openings in the mounds of coral. And as it pops up, you see now that it looks at all of you, sees the octopus, and then it suddenly just whooshes through the water, just makes a beeline straight for Twinkle. But before you have a moment that you can warn Twinkle, you did held your action, Alistair, so you can act if you wish to do so.
I shot and missed.
Oh, you shot at the creature. I apologize.
Scorched. No, he used his action too.
Yeah. Yeah, he used
Did
his movement and his
Adelum?
action. Adelum did not. But unfortunately, Adelum did not see the creature.
God damn it, Adele!
She's kind of derpy.
The creature suddenly you just watch as more arms emerge from its torso. You can see this Alistair as it attempts to strike out at Twinkle.
Alistair is strangely aroused and he does not know.
At first you can watch as the creature attempts to slash out these clawed fingers. You just feel, Twinkle, as you just begin to turn your head, you see this strange fishy-like creature, and its webbed finger arcs out and slashes into you. It then reaches, its face is in your face as it attempts to bite your ear. But its teeth gnash shut. And you just saw this face poke into your air bubble for a moment. It was focused by the it's almost like a magnifying lens. You could see the creature, but then it was suddenly in your air bubble. You just see the face framed within the air bubble for a moment. And then a ridge on the front of the creature, this spiny ridge, you just watch as these little quills sort of extend out a few inches and begin firing out of its body towards you. And you are hit.
Ah!
Make a Constitution saving throw. Okay. Thankfully, you are successful with your saving throw. You are not poisoned.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that's the end of its turn.
Upon hearing Twinkle yell, I activate my rage.
All right, Rex, I'll turn your rage on for you. What do you say when you rage?
Gosh,
It's the
darn it.
Vraxening.
It's the Vraxening? That's what you say?
No. What would Vrax say? That's a good question. I just yell Twinkle and go into my rage.
Twinkle!
Yeah. Twinkle! No!
As you turn and look, momentarily turning away from the octopus, which it was attempting to grapple and attack you, you just see this sort of strange humanoid creature with an extra appendage arm off of its body. Like it has 3 arms, and it attempted to slash out. And then you just hear her wincing in pain from this quill as she's pulling this quill out of the side of her neck. You slash down mightily with your longsword and cleave this octopus in half, its parts twitching. You actually manage to cut into, and there's a bit of a loud noise of tinking as your longsword cuts into the beak. And you just see the parts of the beak which are flowing away from you now as the creature's body is lifelessly moving away from you.
I rush into Twinkle's aid.
Okay.
I can't stand these bastards that always attack the weakest member.
You just see that
Go.
this strange creature, it's got like barnacles and bits of coral chunks on its body, and it has like little fins emitting from where you would assume if it were a human would be its ears.
I roar as I come up. Come, warrior, face me.
And you hit it as you slash into it with your longsword, cutting deep into its body. You just watch as its bilious blood emits from the wound, and it reels back for a moment as it turns to face you.
Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm activating my feeding frenzy.
Okay. As you bite into the creature and rip a chunk of its fishy flesh out into your mouth.
Swallow it.
Okay. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Dude, that's why I have high constitution, is so I can eat things like this.
Not bad. It tastes kind
It's
of tangy.
delicious.
It tastes tangy. It's unlike any seafood you've ever had before. Scorch, you turn and you look and you see that this Vrax is now engaged this other humanoid creature which emerged from one of the apertures, the openings in these mounds.
Scorch is going to swim up over Twinkle, and he's going to stab his trident down into the neck of this sea creature, a sea spawn.
Okay, you can move your character if you like, so that you can reach.
Does that get extended reach like a polearm?
Let's look at the website.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think so.
It was worth checking.
It is... Yeah, it doesn't have reach. It does have a thrown... You do hit it as you strike with the trident into the creature's body. You watch as its mouth opens for a second. You can see its sort of strange, fanged, ridge-like teeth. And within its mouth, you can see a couple of more rows of teeth, almost like a shark. As you pull the trident back from its lifeless body. And the moment that you do, Scorch, you now hear this strange noise, like a horn that reverberates in the water. And as you look off in the distance, Scorch, you see more of these creatures which are now emerging from these openings.
Twinkle, hide and get back.
Okay.
I'll end my turn.
Okay.
Hey, Alistair, free fish. Come on. You know you eat these.
You're not wrong. I'm gonna look over and spot the one over there, and I'm a reload my bow, and I'm
Gonna reload your bow and what?
and I'm a fire.
Firing my laser.
Wish me
I was
luck,
thinking
fam.
that too. Good luck, fam.
As you aim your crossbow, the bolt through the water. You watch as it impacts into the creature's leg. A bit of blood now is sort of wafting in a cloud away from its appendage.
Fish is back on the menu, boy.
And Twinkle, it is your turn.
I would like to disengage and hide.
Okay, so you're gonna use, well, you can use your action to disengage, and then you can use your bonus action to hide. Is that what you wish to do?
Yeah, I want to hide.
Okay, go ahead and roll a stealth check for me. There's plenty of kelp and seaweed. There's plenty of places for you to swim real quick to hide. Okay, roll a 20. I'll keep that in mind. Is that the end of your
And
turn?
I will end my turn.
Okay. The sea spawn number 2, watching its compatriot, which is close to it now, pulling the bolt out of its leg, looks straight at you, Alistair, and like a rocket, shoots straight towards you. its front arms out in front of it like it's flying. And on Adelum's turn, well, Adelum, unfortunately, I don't think she can see you. Let's see if she can see you. Because she was just going to try to heal you, but she can't see you at the moment, I don't think.
I thought you were going to say she couldn't see the fish man. I was like, where the hell is she?
Yeah, she was going to heal, she was going to heal Twinkle, but unfortunately Twinkle went behind some kelp, so she can't see her.
I just imagine Adela swimming for the surface at top speed.
So instead, she is going to, with her, you just watch as there's suddenly this light emitting from her hand as she reaches out towards the creature which is swimming towards Alistair. And she will cast Ray of Sickness.
Ooh, obscure.
Huh. Damn humans always spreading their disease.
And she rolls a 20. And the creature is poisoned. How do you like poison? She yells out. And that is the end of her turn. She's going to move back a little bit closer to you, Alistair. And the other sea spawn now is also going to rocket towards the two of you, Alistair and Adelum, coming straight towards you. And Scorch, as you're looking around, suddenly from behind you, another one of these creatures emerges from one of the openings and immediately comes straight towards you. Its arm uncurling from the side of it as an extra appendage, and it immediately attempts to strike you with it. Oops. Oh gosh, that was the wrong one. There we are. And it first attempts to strike at you with its arm, with one of its arms. And then from its back, a tentacle suddenly emerges and attempts to grab at you. And it just manages to whiff past you. And then from its chest, this sort of bony ridge, these little quills now start popping up. And sort of in the water, but they just manage to go past you, and one of them harmlessly bounces off of your thick, stony exterior. The other sea spawn now rushes towards Vrax. And Vrax watches this creature now is unfurling 2 extra sets of arms.
Ooh.
And it slashes out at you first with one strike, and then you watch as this other arm now, in a strange fashion, it seems to extend out like a crab claw. It unfolds from its body and attempts to grab at you. And it also fires several of these quills out, attempting to strike you with its poison quill. But again, the quills are passing by you. One of them almost nicks you in your face as it passes through your air bubble, goes in the air bubble, and then out the air bubble beyond, harmlessly into the water beyond you. And the last sea spawn now flows up and around, and it looks like it's making a beeline straight towards Adela. And Vrax, it is your turn. as you see this fishy humanoid creature with this strange crab-like arm and then this regular arm that is slashing out at you. And you, in quick succession, slash twice, whoosh, whoosh, and cut the creature in half, its body parts floating away harmlessly.
And after that, I will flank the one that's currently engaged with Scorch.
Okay.
And I will end my turn.
Now, ordinarily, to flank, you need to be diagonal from it. But
Oh, really?
yes. So I would say that technically you would be diagonal because Scorch is actually above a bit. He said he swam,
so I'm below a
swam
bit.
up.
I swim
Yeah.
down some.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and say you guys are looking at it three-dimensionally. You would be totally flanking it.
Yeah, his position right now is what we refer to as fucked. He's fucked.
All right. Is that the end of your turn, Rex?
Yes.
All right, Alistair, it is your turn. This fishy-like creature is coming straight at you. Its strange appendages are now erupting from its body.
That isn't the way to ask an owl out on a date. And I reload my bow, and I'm a firing
my laser. And that is a hit as your bolt arcs and connects into the side of the creature's chest, right above where you would think would be its pectoral muscle. Would you like to do anything else?
Yes, I'm going to use my reaction to do Halo of Spores on him for 3 poison.
Okay.
And now, I look at Adela and it's like, so...
You turn to look at Adela.
3 on 2.
And as you begin to, you see that another one of these creatures is coming, heads right in her face. As you turn and look in her direction, it looks like it's getting ready to attack her.
Give it a little kiss.
Okay. The sea spawn now swims straight up to you, Alistair, and you watch as it's instead of 2 arms, it now has 2 crab claw-like arms. One of them, as it's swimming up towards you, reaches out, lunges impossibly long, and attempts to grab at you. But just managed, you hear sort of an audible clicking noise, muffled, as the claw snaps closed. With its other arm, it attempts to slash out at you. Just manages to miss you. And then as it does, the cluster of spines that almost look like bits of coral now are like ripping off as the spines are launching out from its chest towards you. But again, harmlessly, the quills are passing through you. Some appear to hit bits of your clothing and tear holes, and others seem to like be taking feathers off of your body, but harmlessly. The other sea spawn now is reaching out with its arms. Whoops. Did not mean to do that. There we go. Okay. It reaches out and attempts to grab and bite at Adelum. And just manages to nick her in the side of her neck and tear out a bit of her hair as it does. And you just hear her go, "Oh!" It then slashes across her chest, and you can just hear the sound of the clatter muffled in the water as the claws scratch across her armor. And then the poison quills now firing out are ting 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 off of her armor. And Twinkle, it is your turn. You are currently hiding amongst the kelp and the seaweed. watching as Varax and Scorch seem to be positioning themselves to attack this creature.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If I shoot something while I'm hidden, will it make me not hidden anymore?
Technically, you would no longer be hidden, correct?
So I would just have
But-
to re-hide.
Correct. As your bonus action, you could just re-hide. But because you hit last turn, you can get your sneak attack damage with your crossbow.
Awesome. I don't have that programmed in. So what's the amount of dice I need to throw with that again?
I believe it's 4d6. I could be wrong. Let's take a look.
Okay.
3d6. Excuse me.
I'm gonna go program it in real fast for her.
Sure. As Twinkle, as the kelp begins to sort of wave and split, you're aiming with your crossbow at the creature, targeting it. It doesn't see you. You have advantage on the attack. You can still roll your attack if you like. And ooh, yeah, for some reason that did not do anything. Oh, I see. It's because you got piercing misspelled. I'll fix it for you. There you go. I wonder what Scorch is thinking at this moment.
Shark back on the ship.
Shark back on the ship? Your shark soup?
Yep,
Or shark steaks?
yep, shark soup, shark steaks. It's gonna make sushi. Just think of all the ways he's gonna prepare all that shark meat.
Did you take it off the stove? Did you turn the stove off before you left the ship?
He's not an amateur.
Did I remember to unplug the toaster?
Besides, Ration has it from here. He can finish.
Alright. Are you guys good over there? Do you want to roll your attack, or you still need some time?
Sorry, I programmed it all in really super fast. It's
No
there.
worries. I didn't see the attack yet. I just saw you tried to roll the damage.
Oh, I did? Whoops.
That's okay.
Yeah, her laptop's weird.
Yeah, and she has advantage, so when she rolls her attack, she can click advantage. Nice. So your bolt through the water into this back of this creature that did not notice you at all. And you can go ahead and roll your damage. And it did not roll, for some reason, did not roll your the right damage.
Wait, where? Oh, you have it all the way hidden at the bottom.
Sorry, she rolled the wrong one. She didn't realize there was a separate entry for sneak attack.
Just roll 3d6 and I'll add that manually. Okay. I'll go ahead and roll.
Fantastic.
There we go. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Haha. Let me put that on the correct one. There we go.
And then I shall hide.
Okay. You are hiding. And on Adelum's turn, seeing this creature floating towards it, you just hear her shout in some strange language. Pretty sure it's probably a curse word. And she will cast Inflict Wounds on this creature. And there's just suddenly this eruption of green necrotic energy that just coalesces and bursts out from her hand. And this creature is just turned into fish food. Just chunks of flesh that have bits of it which are burning, somehow seeming to burn underwater and turn a bright bioluminescent green color. And she turns around now and is looking towards Alistair and rushes forth to assist him. And let's see. Okay. I'll tell you what. Alistair, do me a favor. Make a wisdom saving throw.
I was about to say, he's an owl. He doesn't need those. Yes, he does.
That was actually really close to being a 12 too.
Wow. So, Alistair. Oh, God. Sorry, never mind. I just realized it did something wrong. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, make a perception check, Alistair. I gotta see if you actually see what this is doing.
Okay.
I will let you, because I did this out of order, I will let you do that wisdom save. Okay, no, you do not see it. So instead, we're going to ignore that for now. Scorched, it is your turn.
Alright, Scorch is going to wave his trident around, and he's going to cast Witch Bolt on both the Sea Spawn 6, Sea Spawn 2.
Okay. That first attack is a hit, as your strange lightning now arcs out into the creature, through the water, into the creature's body, and sort of coalesces and runs across the surface of its body.
And that'll be his turn.
Okay. Sea Spawn number 2 now rushes toward Adelum and attempts to slash at her with its unarmed strike, and just manages to impact as it scratches across her neck, blood now flowing from the wound, and then attempts to bite her, and just manages to bite her on the side of her cheek. And you all hear now Adelum is ah! As she gets bit in the face. But the quills bounce harmlessly off her armor. Just tink, 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 tink. Alistair, you just hear the sound of this muffled tink, tink, tink as the poison quills bounce off of her body. And number 6 will attempt to bash at you with its tentacled arm, Scorched. And it misses. It then attempts to bite at you and misses again. And as in this flurry of motion, one of these quills finally manages to stick into your face, right in your cheek, where your mouth, the corner of your mouth is. And make a Constitution saving throw. I always think it's funny that for some reason Warforged are not immune to poison. You are not
It
poisoned.
is weird.
That wasn't my. That was for my concentration. I'm gonna do another one for Constitution.
Okay. Go right ahead. Oh, you are poisoned, my friend.
Now, what does poison do? Because I know that other sea spawn has poison on it, but I didn't see any damage.
Poison automatically gives you disadvantage on attacks.
Ah, okay.
As the poison, from your construct form, it seems to course through your body. Just sort of this weird sensation like you've never felt this before, Scorched. And you just feel sort of like this tangy... for the first time in a long time, you can actually taste something. And it tastes horrible. Sea Spawn's turn number... It's time. It will attempt once again to slash at Adelum, missing. And attempting to bite her again. Oh, that was almost a crit. And again, is ripping flesh now out of Adelum, the side of her neck. But again, the poison quills are firing, but they're just bouncing harmlessly off of the front of her chest plate of her armor. And Alistair, it is your turn.
Alistair, once again, with this sushi in front of him, I am going to reload the bow and take aim again.
And you just managed to fire a bolt straight into its left eye, and the bolt pokes out the back of its skull, and the creature begins to sort of drift in the water harmlessly. Very dead.
And then I am going to use my... Yeah, I'm going to use my reaction to do Halo Spores on my little friend here that keeps attacking our healer.
Okay.
And I end my turn.
Okay. Scorched, it is your turn.
Scorch is going to use his action to keep the Witch Bolt going.
Okay. The Witch Bolt arcane lightning erupts from the trident and now strikes out at the creatures that you've targeted.
And at the end of my turn, do I get to make another Constitution save?
Nope. You are just poisoned until you can get that effect taken off of you, unfortunately.
Alright. I have my turn then.
5 years later.
As you end your turn, the creature now attempts to bite into you and manages to sink its teeth into the side of your neck. And it then slashes out at you with its tentacle. And the tentacle now bashes into you and then wraps around your body. You are now grappled by it. And it's pulling you closer to its face. And it's this horrible vision of this fishy creature. And Twinkle, it is your turn.
Woohoo.
Twinkle, make a perception check. Okay. Good to know.
I saw her make the check, but it's not showing up in chat.
That's weird.
It's
I
showing
see
in
it.
mine. I rolled a 1 plus 5. Haha.
Yeah, you don't see shit, Twinkle.
Not a thing. Can I still shoot the guy I aimed at?
Yes. That is a hit. And you manage to catch the creature in its neck. The bolt passes through the back of its neck and out the front of it. And the creature now is drifting in the water, very dead.
And I will hide.
Okay. As you're looking in its direction, though, Twinkle, make a wisdom save. Okay. You are frightened as the body of the creature fell down, drifting away. You see just beyond Alistair, just beyond Adelum, this form of this horrific looking woman rising up above Alistair and Adelum. It was a large, lumpy looking fish one moment, and now this horrible looking woman the next. One of its eyes is a bit larger than the other. The other eye is smaller and sort of squinting, and its larger eye is glowing this reddish burnt orange color, and its hair is sort of wafting away from it, almost like the hair is made of seaweed itself. And you suddenly feel this just overwhelming dread as this creature suddenly appears behind them.
And I'm glad that I am hiding. And I will end my turn.
Okay. Vrax, you slash into the body of this creature in quick succession with your flame tongue, carving into the side through its clavicle, and then once again carving upwards into its rib cage and out. And its body now is bisected at an angle and floating away in different directions in the water. This cloud of bilious blood that's filling the water around you, it's wafting away from you.
Very well.
Okay, and that's the end of your turn?
Yes, it is.
All right. On the Sea Hag's turn, I need everyone to make a wisdom save, minus Twinkle.
Is this against frightened effect?
You can also avert your eyes to avoid making the saving throw.
Is this for a charmed or frightened effect?
It is a frightened effect.
I am immune to it while raging.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Nice. I didn't know that you were immune to that.
Yep, I'm immune to all fright and charms while raging.
Nice.
When angry,
shame if
he
that
becomes
changed.
stupid and no longer feels fear.
Well, Alistair, you have not. You can say you've averted your eyes because you haven't actually noticed this creature yet. So unless you're turning to look at it, I will roll for Adelum.
Well, I did roll a save already.
Okay. Adelum is frightened.
Yeah, she just looked at a mirror.
And she will roll another wisdom save as Adelum is now looking towards this creature, is seemingly trying to swim backwards now away from the creature, and there's this sort of like a shimmer that seems to emit from the creature's body. But Adelum rolled a natural 20. She rolled a 26 on her wisdom save. So she is not affected by whatever this creature was attempting to do. And on her turn, she is going to cast Healing Word on herself at 2nd level. And she will rush towards this creature. Or actually, no. She will... Oh, that's right. She's frightened. She can't do that.
Yeah, if she runs towards it, we have to retrospect a lot of Olaf-related content.
That's true. Okay. Well, it's the end of its turn, so it's the end of her turn, so she will attempt to no longer be frightened by the creature. And she has no longer frightened of it. Adelum manages to steel herself and points her weapon at the creature and says, "You will die." And Twinkle, it is your turn. I believe you are frightened, if I'm not mistaken.
Very, yes.
But I don't think I put the frightened on you yet. I apologize. There we go.
Give me a second. My computer has come to a crawl.
No worries. While you're doing that, I'm going to see if the creature can even see you because you were hiding.
Yeah, she's trying to stealth over there behind me and hide. I went ahead and put it in her move.
Okay.
She's scared, so she doesn't want to attack in case it sees her.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, it saw you.
No.
It rolled a 20.
Ah.
Fake news.
So go ahead and make a wisdom save. Okay. So, Twinkle, as you were swimming towards and past Vrax, all of a sudden, as you glance back and look back towards where you came from, you just feel this wave of nausea, and Twinkle is gone. She's suddenly limp, floating in the water. You are at 0 hit points. And Alistair, it is your turn.
Alistair's gonna move right here. He's going to cock his bow and reload it. And he's going to scowl and have a really pissed face. And I'm a fire.
This is what you guys are seeing right now, by the way.
Not anymore.
Alistair would tap it. Before he fires this harpoon, he puts a note on it that says, "Can I get your number?"
Well, that's definitely a hit. You fire your crossbow, the bolt courses through the water and smacks into the side of its body. And you can just watch for a moment as its form seemed to shift from that of this strange, mottled, blue-skinned, long-haired woman to that of a strange, lumpy fish, and then back into a woman.
Is that what you saw, Vrax? And I end my turn.
Okay. And Vrax, it is your turn.
All these creatures down here are cowards. They all target the weakest amongst us, and none of them are brave enough to face a true war.
As you pull back your longsword, slashing into the creature, heavy strikes, you hear it go as you cut into its body with your flame tongue.
Feeding frenzy. And I will end my turn.
Okay. On Adelum's turn, turning to look back towards this strange creature, she sees the floating form of Twinkle in the water and begins to chant in some strange language, an arcane words. And she casts Healing Word at 2nd level on Twinkle. Twinkle, your eyes suddenly flutter open as you pop awake. No longer frightened.
But I am after that. Oh,
Let me take the grappled effect off of you because that creature's body is floating near you, Scorch, but it's no longer got any give to it. And Scorch, it is your turn.
Alright, Scorch is going to go up to the sea hag, and he is going to try and grapple it.
Okay. Make a strength check.
And this will be at disadvantage, correct?
I think poison is just, yeah. I will say yes, because you're trying to grab it while you're being racked in pain by this horrible, whatever this is. Okay. We'll see if the creature is able to escape from you. Yeah, you just managed to reach out with your hands. You thought you were about to grab this creature by the shoulders of the throat, and it just manages to duck out of your way as it looks like it's making a beeline towards Vrax, who has slashed into it twice now.
Alright, I will then use my second wind and before I end my turn.
Okay.
So I'll heal 6 hit points.
Very well. And you're going to stay right there next to the creature?
Yes.
Okay. Vrax, it is your turn. This strange creature with this misshapen, enlarged eyes staring bloody murder at you. Its mouth is opening. Its teeth, disgusting, gross ridges. You slash forth with your longsword and decapitate the creature. Its head drifting away from its body, spraying a cloud of bilious blood in the water. And you are
I just made the ocean a prettier place.
And you are all out of combat.
Woo!
Well, I'm collecting that octopus. That thing looked delicious. How many tentacles of them are worth saving?
hey, were those quills poisonous? We could use them to make some poison for Twinkle.
That's not
Spice
a bad
rack?
idea. Can I use my ability to gather pieces from monsters to gather up some of those quills?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to do that then. I'm going to start gathering up quills.
Adelum is now going towards you, Twinkle, and saying, "Are you all right?" And she herself is like holding her hand up to her neck from the wound that was slowly closing from her own magic.
No, I'm not all right. Things tried to eat me and stab me, and I died.
And let's see, you all, minus Adelum, you all received 463 experience points for that encounter.
Woohoo!
I feel slightly stronger.
Probably from all that working out trying to swim with those wings.
You actually look a little bit stronger. I'm impressed.
Well, I'm not a very fleshy creature. And he stares at Adelum. Though they have their uses. She did well.
Adelum just sort of ignores you, and she is going to cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level. Onto you, Twinkle. You just feel this warmth in the cold water as this healing energy wafts over you, and you begin to feel like you're coming back to yourself. And she looks at you and she says, "Do you need more?" And without another word, she just reaches out and casts just a single level Cure Wounds onto you, Twinkle.
Alistair will swim by Adelum and just like run a quick claw talon across her neck, healing her, and then swims back off. So, what do we want to go
turns
to?
and looks in your direction.
Thank you, Adlam. I promise not to try and eat myrrh today.
Thank you. And
What's up, Alistair?
What are you doing, Scorched?
Scorch is seeing what's in these caves.
Okay.
The balls on him. Go for it, Scorched.
We should destroy their homes and take whatever they have in there. He's got the right idea.
Like they're children.
Hey. You can say the Scorched has balls of steel. You get it? Did you just... Never mind.
I don't quite know how to produce a laugh.
Me neither.
So
At least you have jaws
as you
of sort.
head towards one of these openings, you could make a perception check, an investigation check. Well, that's right. Scorch is still poisoned, guys. I would say that after
No.
after a while, the effects fade away because it only lasts for about a minute. You actually looking inside Scorch, you see that this is like a hollow. Looking inside it, you can see that it almost looks like just like a potential opening. You see like carcasses of fish, some bones. You do see something though within this cave, this little sea cave. You see something that looks like a bit of a chunk of something.
Like it's not like a carcass or anything. It's like an actual object.
Like amongst the carcass, you actually see something that sort of glows a bit, an amber color that seems to be glowing from underneath these carcasses and bones.
Scorch will move the carcasses out of the way to see what it is.
Okay. As you begin to sort of sift through the piles of bones, you find what looks like an angular piece of coral, and almost like in a rough circular, like a donut shape, and suspended within the hole at the center appears to be an amber colored crystal. And on one end, it looks like that at one time this may have hung off of something. Like it has a fitting, like it may have hung off of like possibly a necklace at one time.
Scorch will put it in his bag.
Okay. I will go ahead and drop that into your inventory, Scorched.
Alistair's gonna check this little cave that he's hovering over right now.
Okay. You can make a perception check, or use your passive perception. You look in, you see something very similar to what Scorched found. You see fish carcasses, and you see a hollowed out like cave. It's about double the size of you. So it's more of a hide than an actual cave.
I'm gonna grab a few of the bones.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna swim back out.
All right. And what about the rest of you? What are you doing, Brox?
I'm gathering up those little poison quills and getting those octopus tentacles because octopus is delicious. And checking over that sea hag, see if it had anything worthwhile. Probably not. Nasty, filthy creature.
Sure. Looking over again, you find you managed to gather a few things, a few quills, a few bits of bone and from the creatures. The creature appeared to have sort of like this almost seaweed like hair, and its body seems bloated in areas. You don't notice anything of value on its body until you look at one of its arms. And on one side of its arm, you see some sort of a brand. And it's some sort of rune.
Burned into it?
Yeah, it seems to be burned into it.
That's different.
And it seems to be like a word. And you can describe it to your friends. I will type it in chat, see if anyone understands it.
Okay.
Doesn't appear that anyone understood.
Well, there's an easy fix for that. I'm going to skin her.
Okay. You can take some time to skin her if you like.
Oh, yeah. It ain't going to take me long. I'm going to take off that little section with the word on it and take it with us. Roll it up, put it in my bag.
I doubt I know it anyways, but I know when I change language, when I try to change language in the selection, I don't have anything listed out of the 4 I can speak.
Well, what languages do you speak?
I'm pretty sure I don't understand this one. I speak Celestial, Common, Aarakocra, and
Orin, okay.
I just know, like, I can't pick it at all.
There are notes that seem familiar to you, Alistair. It's on the tip of your tongue. Make a history check.
Oof.
Seems familiar. Like, this almost appears to be written in 2 different languages. Like, it seems to begin in a language, and then it's almost as if someone has branded over something else that was there. And you just make out what looks like the first letter, which you're pretty sure is the letter C, and the last letter, which is the letter S.
All I can say is it starts with a C and ends with an S. It looks familiar, but not quite. It's almost like 2 words are mingling together. It hurts me to think about it. I try not to think about my past, so...
Does it seem intentional, or does it seem like something Twinkle would write?
It's almost like 2 people that knew what they were doing were writing on the same canvas.
That's weird.
I'm gonna guess cakes.
Okay.
Carnivorous.
Silly, that starts with a K.
Alistair dies of an aneurysm from pure stupidity.
Alistair,
So,
as you are scanning beyond the kelp forest and looking out, you can see now those structures off in the distance. And as your eyes adjust, you can see now that there is a much larger structure off in the distance to the southeast. And it rises up from the bottom of the seabed into a sort of a almost cyclopean structure.
I point to it. So, are we going to go check all of that out as well, or are we going to head to the ship?
We're going. What do you think?
I kind of figured, but it's polite to ask.
What?
Just head towards the ruin.
Okay.
So
And we
wanted-
swim off towards the ruins.
Adelum has been sort of fussing over Twinkle now this whole time, and she turns and says, "What are we doing now?"
Big buildings. Treasure.
Looking for
That way.
cakes? I think.
Cakes. Possibly.
Yeah.
Hot mermaids. I mean, what?
What?
Huh?
Mermaids aren't hot. They live in water, silly. They're cold.
Water can boil.
So,
But it's not boiling here.
so Vrax, you said you were swimming off towards that direction that Alistair pointed to.
Yeah. Well, I'm very casually backstroking in that direction while I'm waiting for everybody else to come on.
As you turn and you look, Vrax, you can see now this expanse of ruined structures that seem to be mostly leveled off in the distance, in the dark. And you can also see now what Alistair was gesturing towards is imposing ruin that is multi-leveled, rising up at a bit of an angle. And the structure of which looks very familiar to you. In your travels, you've seen temples of this type before.
Huh. Do I remember where?
It's make it an intelligence check. We'll see how well you can remember. To you, Varax, this appears to be a ruin from a long gone, long dead, ancient giant civilization. And you're remembering that you are very close now to the realm of what once was a very large giant empire. This ruin appears to be sized for giants. It's enormous. It looks well over 300 feet tall. And in places you can see where over time being sunk in the depths of the ocean, you can see where coral and barnacles have begun to grow in places on the buildings, the ruins around you. You can see off in the distance this tilted ruin. You can't make out any even from this distance, you can't really make out anything as of yet. But as you're looking, how close are you to the bottom of the seabed?
To the bottom of the seabed? I'm
Yeah.
probably like 8 feet off of it.
Okay. As you look off in the distance, you can see shapes moving off in the
Ooh.
distance. You can see shapes, just casual glances, not sea life, as far as you can tell from this distance. You can see shapes moving amongst the ruins.
Guys, you got to see this. There is a whole giant city down there. I'm talking like huge buildings, big doors, giants. They used to make some nice stuff too, man. But there's something down there. A bunch of somethings digging through it.
As you
That's
turn,
not new. Everything's big.
Vrax, as you turn around, I will whisper to you that you see something behind your friends now. Click, 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 click.
Them razor switches are kicking it, man.
You see that beyond your friends, at the very edge of where the drop-off is into the trench, you see a row of them, all lined up, just drifting, looking in your direction, looking in the direction of all of your friends.
So they got like nice stuff down there, and there's like stuff moving in the ruins. And who are they?
And as you say that now, Vrax, you turn and look, you see even more of them that seem to be rising up from the sandy depths, up out of the sand, floating off at different angles, not looking in your direction. Some of them looking in your direction for a moment and then turning and moving away. And as you begin to look around you, off in the distance, you see even more of these glowing things that are drifting through the ruins. And you can see some of them are passing through ruined walls and columns. Some of them stop and glance in your direction for a moment and then continue on. Some of them sink down back into the sand and are gone.
Oh man, those are ghosts. That means there's going to be something magic down there.
Whoa.
We gotta go now.
Water mummy ghosts.
And Adelum, now grabbing her holy symbol, now is looking around like with her weapon outstretched, clearly disturbed by this. And she looks and she says, "This is not a safe place. We should not be here."
Yeah. But you know, somebody's always got to go first to get the good stuff. Just look, they're not starting a fight with us. So, you know, it's like the old wise sage used to say, don't start none, won't be none. We'll just move forward until something does start something.
But how do we hit it if it's a ghost?
You swallow it or breathe it.
But we're underwater. We can't breathe things.
We can. We have hats.
Okay.
So now the rest of you are now looking around as Vrax, as you begin gesturing. You can now all see these floating, glowing humanoids off in the distance. And as you look back towards the trench, Vrax, as you gestured, you can all see now them all lined up on the edge of the drop-off, all staring towards you. Spaced evenly, some of them closer to others. They all appear to be looking at you all.
Hold on, guys. I got this. I'm going to step out in front of everybody towards them and introduce myself. I'm Vrax. Who speaks for you?
As you speak, the specter closest to you, Vrax, just sort of its head tilted, its eye sockets are empty, its mouth sort of slacked, and as you're looking at it, its features appear to be that of an elven features. These appear to be all elves of some sort. Close you can tell. They have a withered, emaciated forms, but you can clearly see the elven features, the angular cheekbones, the pointed ears.
Does any one of them step forward?
They are currently just sort of drifting there, staring at you all, not moving.
Hey, guys, hang tight right here. I'm going to slowly edge up towards them, see if they react.
Okay. As you get closer to them, Vrax, you can now see as you get closer to them, some of them now seem to be fading from view and winking out of existence.
My presence is making them wink out of existence.
Like, as you're getting closer to them, what you would presume they would look, you'd be able to see their features much better as you get closer to them. They seem to fade into mist underwater, and they just like lights being turned off are winking out of existence one by one the closer you get to the trench.
But the ones further away from me to the left and the right of the trench, I can still see them.
Yes, the ones that are further away from you can still see. There's one, though, in particular, which is currently the only one that you can now see. And as you get closer to it, it appears to be that of a child. And as you get closer to the child, you can see where what were clearly the remains on its body, the proof of how this child expired. You just see a huge chunk, a section of its torso is gone. And the child is holding something in its hand. And it holds it out towards you. It seems to be a length of chain.
I'm going to walk up to it, kneel down, put my hand on the chain, and ask the child if he will tell me a story.
As you get closer to it, the child releases the chain. It passes through your hand, and the chain passes through the sand and is gone from sight. Directly below you, passes into the sand.
Huh.
And the specter sort of tilts its head, its eyeless sockets looking at you and then looking down towards the sand, and then it points to where that length of chain, that ethereal chain, passed into the sand.
I gotcha. I'm going to start digging down into the sand.
Okay. It takes you a few moments, but you're able to dig into this very soft sand, and sifting for a little bit, you eventually find some resistance beyond the sand, and you find yourself holding what you're assuming is a silver chain. It's a bit tarnished from the seawater and the sand, and it appears to have a clasp on the end which is broken, like it once held something.
Hey guys, come here and look at this.
And as you turn away and you turn back to look at the child, its face is suddenly that of a skull, and it screeches in your face. And as you look, it is suddenly gone at a poof. And as you look beyond your friends now, the lights of these strange ethereal specters are now winking out. And sort of like a wave, like a woof, 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 woof. And they're all gone.
Yeah, them elves are weird enough in life, but in death, they are just downright bizarre.
And Vrax, as your friends are looking towards you, off in the distance now, those shapes that you saw before, one of them appears to be moving closer.
Good. You don't start none, won't be none. All right, guys, come here and look what I found.
Okay.
Alistair swims over to see what's up.
Hey, take a look at this. Show it to everybody real quick. See if anybody can make anything of it. I'm going to keep an eye on this thing coming up on us. And I'm going to pass the chain over to Alistair, and I'm going to turn and stand guard.
Okay.
Don't want to get snuck up on by anything big.
Well, he'll
Alistair,
look it over and see if there's anything on it.
Do you have the spell Identify?
I was just gonna see if there's anything on it. I don't have Identify. I was just gonna see if there's any mark.
You can make an investigation check. Okay. You see what looks like elven runes, very, very, very small and faint. Pulling some of the detritus and a bit of seaweed that was attached to it, and in places you can see tiny little runes of what appears to be a script of some sort in places.
There's elvish ruins on it, but that's about all I can get out of them.
It's clearly elvish. Unfortunately, you don't understand the script.
Does anyone here speak Elvish?
Scorch will hold out his hand towards the chain.
Adelum sort of pipes up. I do.
Okay, Scorch, do you speak Elvish?
Scorch doesn't have that cap thing on, so he can't talk to you. Or at least it sounds like a bunch of bubbles.
Adlam says she can.
Adlam, come here. I shall entrust you. I don't know if Scorch can, and even if he could, he couldn't relay it to us, so for the moment, you're the best option.
Adeline swims up and drifts towards you, Alistair, and she takes the chain from you and she begins to look it over. And she says, "This is some sort of summoning ritual. Summon something called Cavas. Isn't that the thing that the captain mentioned?"
The water god or whatever. Well, let's hand it to Scorched. I know he wanted to look at it.
Does it start with a C and end with a S? Maybe that was what was written on the girl's thingamabobber.
Did Twinkle just make sense?
I mean, she got one thing wrong. It's not her skin anymore, it's yours.
And Adelum looks at Twinkle and says, "That sounds about right. Cavas starts with a C and ends with an S."
Are we about to summon a god?
Does
Hell
it mean
yeah.
does it mean cakes in common?
Vrax, as you turn and look back in the distance, keeping an eye on the horizon above the kelp forest now, you're now seeing a large shape emerging from the kelp forest. It's very large, very tall. It seems to be walking along the seabed. And you can see now that on both of its arms, you see heavy, thick chains. And on one end, on its left arm, the chain is carrying some sort of what appears to be a set of weights. And the other one appears to be a column of stone, the size of you, as tall as you. And it's currently dragging these. And this strange bipedal humanoid, as it's getting closer to you now, you can see that it has this deep cerulean bluish gray skin. And it has a wisp of a beard, silver hair. The beard flows back and it has long silver hair that flows back. It's got thick slabs of muscle.
Oh, come on and get you some, big boy. I'm ready for this.
And it gets closer to you now.
Hey, if y'all going to do anything with that chain, go ahead and do it. We got a giant rolling up on us.
And
big one.
Yeah, Adelum, give
like this.
Give it. Hand Scorch the chain. At least let
And
him see it before we get distracted and...
the creature now stops and rests its hand on the top of the longer column that was hanging off the end of the chain. And it just sort of looks at all of you.
Alistair
then
waves.
It uses, with its free hand now, it sort of gestures to you all. And it begins to speak in this low-toned voice that seems to boom and resonate out from it. Within the water, you can all clearly hear it speaking. And it says, "Why have you trespassed here?"
Hail, friend. We're adventurers. We have come down here in search of your city and ancient lore, so that the past may not be forgotten.
I don't think he should. I mean, he didn't even sound convincing.
Make a persuasion check.
Sure.
Hot damn.
The large bipedal giant looks at you now and says, "None may visit the sunken city and live."
Can we stare at it from here?
"You may not visit the ruin. It is not safe for one such as you all."
Why not?
We're not one. We're like, five.
The accursed. The accursed will destroy you.
What's the name of the accursed?
Goron, the accursed.
And let me ask you, who is Cavas?
The giant now sort of almost recoils from that name. He winces, visibly winces, and he says, "How is it a small one knows the name of Cavas?"
Even on the surface, they still speak of Cavas.
No, we just read it. Well, I didn't.
No one read it. We were told about him by our companions, and then we think we read it on the skin of that thing.
No, Adlam read it.
Is Cavas good or bad? Should we be worried?
Cavas, the doom of Krakohun. Cavas judged and deemed us unworthy for our greedy ways.
Well, you are elves.
Actually,
That's not an elf, that's a storm giant.
Not him, the other things.
the giant now gestures out beyond all of you towards the trench. The serpent erupted from the sea floor and waylaid the city of Krakohun. We were punished. Our slaves were sundered in an instant, drowned and destroyed. On the outskirts of the city I have kept the disciples of Cavas at bay. It has been my duty to protect the city from the disciples and to prevent Goron from harming the surface dwellers.
Is Goron related to Cavas?
Goron is the one who summoned Cavas. Goron
How did he do that?
Goron used old magic. Used the body of the progenitor. An old magic to summon the Titan. But in his folly, he too was destroyed. But the powers that he discovered allowed him to live on in a sort of unlife.
So where is he now? Is he trapped in the city?
Goron. And he now gestures with the other arm, this thick slab of muscled arm with the chain that has the weights hanging off the end of it. He gestures in the distance towards the ruin and he says, Goron haunts the ruin of Del Thor. None who head to the ruin return. All who head to the ruin perish. It has been
Do
some
you go there?
time. I do not go to the ruin. I stay on the outskirts, preventing those who would wish to treaty and speak to Goron. I keep his disciples out.
Can we try?
If you wish to risk your life and die a fool's errand, why do you wish to seek out Goron?
I don't wish to seek out Goron specifically, but I do wish to learn more about the city.
I thought this city was Krakoon.
The city
It
of
is.
Krakhelun. It was the jewel of the Empire. Until we were punished, the city was sunk off the coast of the Empire.
Well, look, I killed this sea hag earlier, and she had this thing tattooed on her or branded on her or something. Does this say Cavas? And I'm going to hand him the scrap of skin that I cut.
And as you do, he looks at it, and he now takes his left arm and begins to move the chain away from a section of his forearm. And you can now see that he has the same brand on his arm, burned there. That is the mark. This one was punished by me. All who attempt to enter the city are branded with this mark. His mark.
Why?
Goron's mark.
Why?
As a warning to any who would attempt to enter the temple.
But we can't read it.
Yeah, it looks like it's two different languages. What language is that?
And he gestures towards the brand which is covering the other brand, apparently some sort of tattooed brand that this one was covering. I put this on her myself. It means unclean. I'm surprised that creature survived.
It didn't. I just took its head clean off.
After it killed me.
Yeah, after it killed my friend, but believe me, I have no patience for nonsense.
And the other one, he says, the other brand was that of Goron's disciples. It is an Orin, an old Orin language. The language of the water creatures.
That's why it seemed a bit familiar to me.
This
So,
creature, this hag, was Yola. You defeated Yola.
yeah, easily.
Then you did something that I could not accomplish.
I might can do a lot of things you can't accomplish. No offense, but she was easy to kill. How about we go down there to that city, find the ghost that's haunting it, and go kick its ass? Would that help you out?
What if it doesn't have one?
That's a good point. Why don't we go throw it a beating?
I do not recommend that you approach the ruin. If you wish to pass through the city, destroying Yola you have proven worthy. I will not brand you today. You have proven yourselves not unclean.
Thank you.
But what
Hey,
about
Scorched.
tomorrow?
Come over here and show him that thing we found. See what he thinks.
Scorch will come up and show the chain to the giant.
You show him
You
the
know what
chain.
that is?
What?
You just show him the chain?
Oh, the pendant.
Oh, okay. So you pull out this amulet.
Yeah.
Oh
As you
boy.
pull the amulet out, the storm giant now looks towards you, Scorched, and says, I have not seen one of your kind in a long time. And you bear part of an amulet that Goron sung, wore around his neck. The symbol, the focus for his strange power that summoned the Titan. He's been looking for that for quite some time. Where did you find it?
We
In a
found
cave
it.
about 200 feet back.
Well, I found the chain about 5 feet away from where I am, and some ghosts showed up and pointed it out to me.
It was all really close together.
You want us to destroy it? Because if he's summoning like titans that destroy cities with it, we can destroy it.
It is destroyed already.
Nah.
It
It can be
is.
fixed.
It is incomplete. Goron possesses the other half of the amulet.
Does he now? Hey, Scorched. Go hide that thing back in the cave. We'll come back and pick it up on our way out. Let's go get the other half of the amulet and kick this guy's ass.
You are brave creatures,
Or foolish.
and you keep strange company.
We are strange company. Have you seen us?
Yeah.
The giant
I mean,
now gestures towards Scorched. This one, this child of the forges. Welcome home. It says, and he nods his head towards you, Scorch.
Hey, Scorched, you were born here?
My home was here.
Metaphorically, the technology that created you came from us. We are the source of what made you, little one.
Does that make you God or does that make you Dad?
Stepdad. Uncle. You do look a lot alike.
If you excuse me. And Scorch is going to go back and put this pendant back into the cave where he found it.
Okay.
Vrax, you should swallow the chain.
No. Take the chain with us. We can use that as bait to lure the ghost out. But he can't gain all of his power if he defeats us because the other half is still out here. See what I'm saying? He's going to want this piece of it, but we don't have the whole thing for him to get it. Then we just kick his ass, take what's ours, and get the hell out. It's a good plan.
Why don't we feed the metal parts to the goat? If we feed it to a goat, he can't get it.
Do you see a goat around here?
We can find a goat. I'm pretty good at
I
sniffing
see a
them. They
twinkle.
stink.
That's not a bad idea, actually. Hey, Twinkle,
Yeah.
do you know what silver tastes like?
No. Can
Toss
you
the
eat
chain
it?
to Silver. Hey, Scorched, toss the chain to Twinkle.
Scorch will give the chain to Twinkle.
And I eat it.
We'll get that back in 2 to 3 days. I mean, let's be honest. Most of us have been to jail before, right?
No. But that's because I don't get caught.
Oh, man, I've been in jail bunches of times. Hey, Twinkle, you ever been in jail?
What?
That place where they give you a free bed and feed you.
Yeah. The homeless shelter.
Do they have bars in there?
Not for drinking.
Okay.
She's not wrong.
Hey, Scorched, you ever been in jail?
In the military, we had some sort of a jail, and I have been placed in a room with metal bars when I've been on my explorations alone, but I don't recall if they called it jail or not. They called
I've heard those. They're called bar racks.
Oh, a bar rack.
That one was funny.
And Adela, I doubt she's ever been in jail in her life. She probably went to college.
Adela, this
She's
entire
probably
time
never
has
even
been
in time out.
She probably volunteered her time.
Adela this entire time has been staring at the storm giant, flabbergasted, like her mouth open.
Hey, Adela, want to come say hey to our new friend? Hey, what's your name, friend?
The storm giant now peers down at you. And it says, "My name is Argon."
Well, Argon, I'm Vrax. This is my friend Alistair. That's Scorched, the metal one. There's a little Twinkle over there, the one that eats everything. And there's the Dellum, the soft one.
But you're not gone. You're here.
She's not very wise.
Well, Argon, can you
Or smart.
Can you show us the best route into the?
And Argon looks at you and he says, "I can escort you to the ruin.
Can Twinkle ride on your shoulder?
If you seek death,
seek the deal a bit. Could Twinkle ride on your shoulder?
And the giant just sort of looks at all of you and turns around and begins walking away and says, "If you are coming, so be it."
Twinkle, he didn't say no. Hurry up.
I'm going to swim very, very fast to his shoulder.
Yeah, he's about almost 30 feet tall, Twinkle, so this thing, it's like a walking statue to you. And he's moving slow, so you're able to get up to him. He's wearing like this chainmail armor, this thick chainmail. Like chunks of it are almost the size of your torso. Individual links of this chain.
I'm going to sit inside one.
And Scorched, you left that amber crystal in the hole, right?
Yes.
Let's be on our way. While we're walking there, guys, excuse me, I'm running to the restroom real quick.
Okay. Actually, I think at this point, this is a good place for us to come to an end.
Oh, okay.
So, as you all begin to swim off in the direction of the ruin of the sunken city of Krakalihoon, this new, interesting giant, maybe not friend, but ally, leading you off in the direction of the ruin of Delthor. Off in the distance, you now all see those glowing humanoids now winking into existence on the far edges of the ruins, watching, judging, waiting. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.